Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
The Island Chat Channel, the Paradise Kingdom, Kingdom Chat Channel, and the major alliance channels of professionals are all in a state of excitement. Almost all professionals are congratulating Lin Yu on becoming the owner of the floating island. It was before. They will most likely be jealous, produce all kinds of negative emotions. But now, all the professionals are very excited and excited. This is because Lin Yu is no longer their enemy. It is the object of their worship and reverence. Many times, a person who is only slightly stronger than others will be jealous, dissatisfied, or even hostile. But when this person is so powerful that he transcends everything and stands at a peak that no one can climb, his existence will only make others look up to him and admire him. Compared to the tens of millions of professionals on the island, Lin Yu is such a person. The Angel Army and the Kingdom Army under his command have swept across the entire floating island, including the floating island in another world, which will also be included in the territory of the Paradise Kingdom. Who dares to oppose Lin Yu becoming the island owner at this time? Not to mention ordinary professionals. Even Lord professionals with top-level arms would not dare. Until now, most of the top lords on the island have also become subjects of the Paradise Kingdom. They will only be happy when Lin Yu is promoted to the master of an island. After all, this means that the door to the battlefield of all realms has been opened to them. Following in the footsteps of Lin Yu, they will surely become gods. This is the confidence that Lin Yu brings to them. And as Lin Yu became the owner of the floating island, the remaining professionals who had not yet joined the Paradise Kingdom instantly gave up all their thoughts and chose to bow their heads to reality. Nor do they want to be among the outcasts. Since then, Lin Yu has completely dominated the professional camp. There are very few professionals who have not joined Paradise Kingdom. For example, Lord Golden Behemoth. When he saw the world announcement that Lin Yu had become the island owner in the Island Chat Channel, Lord Golden Behemoth was immediately frightened to the point of trembling in his heart. A feeling of despair filled my body. He wanted to lower his head to Lin Yu more than ever. But the problem is, he has no way. At this time, he was walking alone on the endless prairie. He couldn't even get out of this prairie, let alone heading to Lin Yu's base camp, Sacred City. Only he knew how many nightmares he had experienced in the past few days. Lin Yu may have forgotten me. After all, compared to his current achievements, I am just a little shrimp. For me, that's a good thing. At least, I'm still alive now. This is the only thing that Lord Golden Behemoth is happy about at the moment. As long as a person is not dead, there is still hope. However, shortly after his live voice fell, a bright light door appeared not far in front of him. As the light door opens, a reorganized angel team flew out. The leader is a four-winged angel. The level has reached the holy level. For Lord Golden Behemoth, even a random king-level angel can kill him instantly, let alone a holy-level angel. Are you Lord Golden Behemoth? The four-winged angel glanced over with indifferent eyes. Upon hearing this, Lord Golden Behemoth suddenly turned pale with fright. He backed away and said in horror, "I am not Lord Golden Behemoth. I am a combat professional. You have recognized the wrong person." He was terrified. He didn't understand why an angel team suddenly appeared in front of him. And he was targeted by name. It was as if this angel team came specifically to kill him. You know, on the entire floating island, except for the rules of the world, no one knows his name, and no one has seen what he looks like. The Golden Behemoth Legion also collectively betrayed him. He has always been alone. There was no reason for these angels to recognize him. "Yes, it's you." The four-winged angel seemed very confident. The identity of Lord Golden Beeman was confirmed on the spot. Without saying a word, she pulled out an angel's sword burning with golden flames from her waist. From a distance of 100 meters, he slashed at the Golden Lord Behemoth. The bright sword light reflected the pale face of Lord Golden Behemoth. His first reaction was to run away. However, he found that his body could not move at all. This is domain suppression from the four-winged angel. It can be said that it is easy to imprison a late-level, ninth-level professional. He couldn't even ask for mercy. He could only watch helplessly as the sword light slashed through his neck. When he was dying, The scenes he experienced on this floating island appeared in his mind like a horse watching a lantern, and all that was left was regret. I regret that I shouldn't have offended Lin Yu. I also hate that I am not strong enough. If there is an afterlife, show how you must. Mission accomplished, retreat. The four-winged angel put away the angel's sword and disappeared into the distant sky with his team. As quickly as it comes, it goes as quickly as it comes. A purified corpse was left lying on the ground. I believe it won't take long for the creatures on the grassland to clean up the traces here. No one will remember this once famous lord of Golden Behemoth. Or maybe, he has already been forgotten. Island Chat Channel. Congratulations to Mr. Lin Yu for becoming the owner of the floating island and creating a new era for professionals. Those veteran professionals spent a whole year but failed to conquer the floating island they were on. But Boss Lin Yu accomplished this feat in less than a month. As expected of Boss Lin Yu, he is so powerful. If nothing else happens, Boss Lin Yu will become the first professional to be promoted to the immortal god. What you're talking about upstairs is nonsense. Did you know that among those veteran professionals of the past year, it seems that the highest level ones are only at the peak of the holy level and have not yet mastered the power of the law? But Boss Lin Yu has already reached the level of demigod. There is already a huge gap in itself. Who can surpass Mr. Lin Yu? It can be said that it is certain that Lin Yu will be the first to be promoted to a god. Now it is a question of when he will be promoted. I have never seen an immortal god. I don't know what it feels like to become a god. Don't worry, as long as you follow Lin Yu's footsteps, sooner or later we will all become gods. That makes sense. This is exactly what I want to say. Boss Lin Yu is the Lord of Holy Light of the Angel Clan, and his status surpasses that of the Supreme God King. With the protection of Mr. Lin Yu, we can easily become gods. Praise to Mr. Lin Yu. Praise the Holy Light. Countless professionals cheered in the Island Chat Channel. The Paradise Kingdom's Kingdom Chat Channel is even more excited. They are the people of the Kingdom of Heaven. As the ruler of the Paradise Kingdom, Lin Yu, the stronger and more successful he is, the greater the rewards they will receive. In particular, sanctification and becoming a god are not far away. The extremely high daily tax payments seem trivial in comparison. After all, those things are foreign objects. Why is becoming a god so important? To this day, all kingdom professionals have seen through this. Paying taxes not only helps Paradise Kingdom become more powerful, but also helps themselves. Take Paradise Kingdom's attack on the floating island in another world as an example. The more than 10 million kingdom professionals who participated in the battle have already received high rewards. The level improvement speed is countless times faster than before. What else are they dissatisfied with? At the same time, in a certain area of desolate desert, an upscale village is located. Thousands of dark fire phoenixes were hovering inside and outside the village. Each dark fire phoenix is huge, with black flames burning all over its body, and looks very cool. This is the territory of top Lord Sikong-jun. After this period of hard development, the number of dark fire phoenixes under his command has reached nearly 10,000. The increase in scale is not slow. However, this is far from his goal. His goal is to surpass Lin Yu, become the most powerful professional lord on the floating island. The results of it? He is getting further and further away from Lin Yu's back. Sikong-jun is a person who is not willing to give in easily, but when he saw the world announcement pinned to the top of the Island Chat Channel, he had to accept it even if he refused. Eventually, he gave up on this unrealistic goal, replaced with a new dream. He will go to the battlefield of all realms and become an eternal god. Therefore, like other professionals, he chose to join the Paradise Kingdom and became a kingdom professional under Lin Yu. As a human being, sometimes you have to understand what compromise is. Just at this time, a large undead army appeared outside Sikong-jun's territory. There are countless undead spirits of all kinds, flying in the sky and running on the ground. The leader was a skeleton mage wearing a tattered gray robe, sitting on the head of a huge skeleton fire phoenix, followed by densely packed skeleton fire phoenixes. Saw this figure. Sikong-jun's scalp suddenly went numb. The damn skeleton mage came over to beat him Chiu-Feng again. In fact, with Sikong Jun's current territorial strength, it is not difficult to kill king-level enemies. But the key question is, the skeleton mage is no longer a king. He has stepped into the extraordinary. This he discovered accidentally during World War I. That battle was supposed to be his turnaround, clearing away his shame in one fell swoop. But in the end, he was defeated and lost thousands of dark fire phoenixes. From then on, he would never be fooled by the skeleton mage again. Young lord, we meet again. The skeleton mage stands high in the sky. Greeted Sikong Jun very friendly. Sikong Jun said with a dark face, "Get out. I don't want to see you." The skeleton mage grinned and said, "Young man, don't be so angry. I came here sincerely to make friends with you, and the grudges between us can be settled." Sikong Jun sneered, "Do you think I will believe you?" The skeleton mage said seriously, "The great His Majesty Lin Yu has issued a decree that the world will be unified, and the hostile relationship between our native intelligent race and your professionals will be completely lifted. Before, I had a task assigned by the Supreme God, and I had to let you endure the test on the road of growth. Now, the mission is over. You have joined the kingdom of heaven, and I will also become a believer of His Majesty Lin Yu and embrace the great holy light. I believe that we can live in true friendship." Sikong Jun mocked, "You are a skeleton and still want to embrace the holy light. Aren't you afraid of being burned to ashes?" The skeleton mage said, "As long as I have faith in my heart, even if it is burned to ashes, my soul can still gain eternal life under the protection of the holy light." Listen to the fanatical voice of the skeleton mage. Sikong Jun fell silent immediately. His intuition told him that the man named Gu was telling the truth and was not deceiving him. Is the war really over? Of course. As the Lord of the world, His Majesty Lin Yu, the Great One, gives an order and all races will surrender. The only enemies left for you professionals are those wild monsters with low IQs. The skeleton mage did not deceive Sikong Jun. Lin Yu indeed issued such an order. After he became the owner of the island, he was equivalent to the ruler of this floating island, and all the native intelligent races were his subjects. He conveyed his orders directly to all races in the world through the rules of the world. And it's not just about ending the hostile relationship between the native intelligent races and the professionals. At the same time, he also ordered all the races in the world to join his heaven kingdom and serve him. As for Lin Yu's order, basically no intelligent race objected. Even races from the evil camp have joined his kingdom. All of a sudden, the number of people in Lin Yu's kingdom skyrocketed to several billion. The number of his followers also grew dramatically. In addition, Lin Yu also uploaded relevant information to the Kingdom Chat channel, forcibly ending the war on this floating island as the ruler. If kingdom professionals want to level up, they can only hunt wild monsters or hunting undead creatures at night. Ordinary undead creatures have extremely low intelligence and are not qualified to join the Heaven Kingdom. These undead creatures can be hunted. In addition, kingdom professionals can also go to floating islands and other worlds through the time and space channels of various affiliated cities, where there are a lot of wild monsters. In general, the speed of level advancement for kingdom professionals will not be affected. In the core of the world, inside the white space, Lin Yu is practicing in retreat. Golden eyes transformed from the spirit of world rules were suspended behind Lin Yu. At this moment, countless colorful silk threads are extending from the eyes and connecting with Lin Yu's eyebrows. It can be seen that in each colorful silk thread, there is streaming material transmitted to Lin Yu. These substances are the secret of the origin of the law. This is one of the benefits of being an island owner. After becoming the island owner, Lin Yu can directly obtain the core secrets of the law from the world rules without having to understand it himself. Plus the help of the law stone, Lin Yu can easily grasp the origin of the laws of different attributes. In just 2 hours, Lin Yu had mastered more than 200 types of law sources. This is very scary. If it had been anyone else, it would have been impossible, because their bodies simply cannot withstand the forcible infusion of the origins and mysteries of laws with different attributes. Just the conflict of attributes is enough to kill them. Lin Yu is not worried about this problem. He has the power of creation to suppress the origin of those laws. He can absorb it as much as he wants without worrying about anything. As time goes by, Lin Yu masters an increasing number of law sources. When the number reached 365, the practice suddenly came to an end. It's not because something went wrong on Lin Yu's side, but because the spirit of the world's rules has been sucked dry by Lin Yu. Congratulations, Your Majesty. You have mastered the origins and secrets of all my laws. Pity. Lin Yu felt a little regretful. While he was enjoying himself, the rules of the world suddenly broke. Let him feel frustrated that the communication ended halfway. But he also knows that world rules has given him all. After all, it is just a rule of the mortal world. And the world is still incomplete. It is already very good to have more than 300 law origins with different attributes. As long as the number of the origins of laws mastered exceeds 500, its power will not be as weak as it is now, and even the true God cannot bear it. At this time, Golden Eyes said, "When I swallow and integrate the world rules of 018439 floating island, the number of law sources I possess will definitely increase dramatically. At that time, I can help His Majesty improve himself again." Lin Yu nodded slightly and said, "Tomorrow at the latest, my angel army will be able to capture that floating island. At that time, I will capture the world rules of that island and fuse them with you." Hearing this, the Golden Eyes suddenly became excited. Sure enough, it would be better to follow the new boss. The previous boss was obsessed with it. It had been a cow and horse for so many years, but in the end it didn't get any reward. Instead, it had to be scolded if something went wrong at work. It's really enough. If it hadn't been unable to resist, it would have given up its game long ago. Now, with a new boss backing it, it can be considered a new life. The future is also more promising. Lin Yu asked, "Has the cross-border teleportation array to Blue Star been repaired?" Golden Eyes replied, "It's just a little short. If Your Majesty can ask Lady Angelia to help me, the teleportation array can be repaired and activated immediately." "Your Majesty, don't worry. This matter is very simple for Lady Angelia." Hearing this, Lin Yu looked at Secretarian, who was standing quietly aside. Angelia said respectfully, "My lord, I have checked the cross-border teleportation array. It is indeed very simple to repair. You only need to penetrate a space-time channel. Then leave it to you." Secretarian snorted lightly. Then the figure flashed and disappeared from the place. After a while, Lin Yu only heard a roar, and then the entire white space trembled. Then, Secretarian came back and reported to Lin Yu that everything was done. Lin Yu's mouth twitched slightly. I thought she was worthy of being his Secretarian. He would never be able to make out the movement just now. Indirectly, even though he has mastered the origin of more than 300 laws, there is still a long gap in power between him and Secretarian. This also made Lin Yu feel a little confused. He seemed to have never really detected Secretarian's depth. Still need to keep working hard. After draining the essence of the laws of the world's rules, the rules of the world are of little use value to Lin Yu for the time being. There is no need to sit down and talk. Now, he can communicate with world rules anytime and anywhere. He does not need to ask like before. Whether he can even get a reply from world rules depends on its mood. Now, if the rules of the world ignore him, he can directly press the rules of the world to the ground and give him a violent hammer. This is the authority of the island owner. From the rules of the world, Lin Yu also learned about another authority he has. That is, he can actively open the door to time and space leading to the battlefield of all realms. It doesn't matter when you turn it on. Lin Yu is not in a hurry about this, because the battlefield of all realms is different from the floating island. There is the world of the true God. There are crises and all kinds of dangers everywhere. He doesn't even have a real God under his command, so he can't enter rashly. Before going to the battlefield of all realms, he needs to integrate the floating island in another world with his floating island to enhance the power of the world's rules to the point of carrying the true God. When Secretarian, Victoria, Seraph Mia, Archangel Elena, and other peak demigods are promoted to true gods, he can begin to conquer the battlefields of all realms. In addition, he will also take the top local demigods, such as the Queen of Nature Elf, Queen of Dark Elf, Queen Medusa, etc., with him after they become gods. according to the rules of the world. He can not only take the army of arms to the battlefields of all realms, and you can also bring his royal capital, Holy City, with you, because the Holy City is considered his core territory. Even on the battlefield of all realms, he can continue to recruit armies through the arms buildings in the Holy City. Other Lord professions can do the same. The difference is, other Lord professionals who want to go to the battlefield of all realms need Lin Yu's permission. Otherwise, the gate of time and space will not be open to them. If you want to enter the battlefield of all realms without passing through the gate of time and space, you can only use the power of law to forcibly penetrate time and space after reaching the peak of demigods. But obviously, the success rate of this method is very low, because whether they can be promoted to the peak demigod is a question. It can be said that Lin Yu has mastered the lifeblood of all professionals on the island after becoming the owner of the island. If they go against Lin Yu, even if they don't die by the angel's sword, they will only be able to stay on the island or the blue star for the rest of their lives, with no possibility of climbing up. It can also be seen from here. How much power does one have as the lord of an island? Not to mention professionals, all native intelligent races must also surrender. A blink of an eye. Lin Yu and Secretarian returned to the city lord's mansion. He said to Angelia, "Tomorrow at the latest, the angel army should be able to capture the floating island in another world. Then we will go there and suppress the spirit of rules in that world." "As you command, my lord." Secretary and nodded respectfully. The spirit of the world rules of the floating island in another world is weaker than the world rules of this floating island. For her, suppression was easy. Later, Secretarian took out 2 bright balls of light from the storage equipment, ring of time and space, he wore with him. The diameter of each light ball is about 10 centimeters. It exudes a very huge original aura. In addition, there is also a terrifying divine power in it. At least for Lin Yu now, this pressure is very powerful. It even made him feel like he was being pressed down by 2 mountains. "My lord," Secretary and said to Lin Yu, "this is the god of death, Backwith, and the divinity of the rock demon that you gave me before. I have purified them. It not only carries their divine power, but also the origin of the laws they master. Now, your strength has surpassed the level of the lower true god, and you can easily absorb it into your body, thereby increasing the number of your law sources. If you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten." Lin Yu smiled and took the 2 divine light balls handed over by Secretarian. In addition to his divinity, he also holds in his hand the godhead of the god of death, Backwith, and his natal artifact, the Death Suit. The Death Set is an evil artifact belonging to the underworld camp. It's perfect for fallen angels to wear. After all, fallen angels also wield the power of the underworld. However, fallen angels have their own angel suits, so there's no need for them. Lin Yu had already considered suitable candidates for the Death Suit. That is the Dark Elf Queen Nadia. He planned to give Nadine the Death Godhead when she came to the surface world, including the Death Godhead of the God of Death, Backwith. With the support of Death Godhead and Death God Suit, the Dark Elf Queen Nadia has a high probability of directly becoming a Death God and possessing more powerful combat power. The war in the underworld is essentially over, if nothing unexpected happens. The army of fallen angels led by Victoria and Priscilla, and the army of dark elves led by Nadia, will return to the Holy City today. Let's not talk about this for now. Lin Yu took Secretary and soft little hand and went straight to the city lord's mansion. He needs to fuse the divinity of Death Barkerwell and the Rock Demon with the help of Secretarian. With Secretarian here, he is motivated in everything he does. Just when Lin Yu merged the 2 divinities, Island Chat Channel and Kingdom Chat Channel also vibrated at the same time. Except for those kingdom professionals who are on the floating island in another world, all the professionals on the island are cheering. The reason is simple. They simultaneously received information prompts from Myriad Worlds Floating Island. It means that the cross-border teleportation array leading to Blue Star has been successfully repaired, and all professionals with full energy bars can teleport back to Blue Star. In addition, because this floating island already has a controller, therefore, professionals on the island can freely enter and exit this floating island. There is no need to recharge professional brand. every time you return to Blue Star. Of course, if you want to bring troops and non-professional creatures back to Blue Star, you still have to pay gold coins. Each time you transfer a unit, you need to pay 5,000 gold coins. When Lin Yu learned that teleporting troops needed to pay this fee, his first reaction was heartache. He was still very weak at that time. 5,000 gold coins is still a large sum of money to him, enough to recruit 100 double-winged angels. As for now, none of this matters. Not because of how rich he is, but because as the island owner, he has an exclusive privilege. That is, there is no fee to teleport troops. The core intelligence of the world's rules is in the hands of Lin Yu. How can it dare to collect Lin Yu's gold coins? The whole thing now belongs to Lin Yu. To be realistic, all the gold coins paid by the professionals will end up in Lin Yu's pocket. This is the difference between a boss and a worker. Island Chat Channel. It's not easy. I can finally return to Blue Star. The more than 20 days I spent on the floating island felt like a century had passed. Since this period of time, I have been tense all the time. If it weren't for the faith support of my family still waiting for me in Blue Star, my spirit would have collapsed. Normal, we were just ordinary people before we came to the floating island. After entering the floating island, what we experienced the most was death and despair. It's good to be able to hold on. As early as the beginning of Advent, some members of my team couldn't bear it, had a mental breakdown, and finally chose to commit suicide by rushing into the monster group. Pity. If those people knew that in just over 20 days, Lin Yu would ascend to the position of island owner and end the war on the island, they would definitely be able to survive. Oh, what's the use of this kind of person even if he can barely survive until now? The battlefield of all realms is more dangerous than the floating island. People with such a mentality, even if they are lucky enough to survive until now, will have to die on the battlefield of the world in the future. That's right. No one should have a mental breakdown or commit suicide now, right? The experiences during this period have been enough to temper us. This is true. Don't look at it. It's only a short period of 20 days. But the tens of millions of professionals on the island have all undergone earth-shaking changes. Anyone who survives is completely transformed. This kind of rebirth refers not only to the body, but also to the inner world. Just like the more than 10 million kingdom professionals who slaughtered the army of foreign professionals on the floating island in another world, they could not do such a thing before coming to the floating island. It's not that they have become cold-blooded and cruel. It can only be said that the experiences along the way have allowed them to adapt to the rules of the extraordinary world. All professionals have grown. This is naturally a good thing. Of course, this doesn't mean that they don't miss their life in Blue Star. Many times, the tense spirit also needs to be relaxed. This is also the reason why professionals want to return to Blue Star to live for a while after experiencing all kinds of cruelty on the floating island. If you stay on the floating island all the time, there will be endless killing. A lot of people have to go crazy. About 2 hours later, there are professionals sending messages in the chat channel. Brothers, my energy bar has reached full value. See you in a week. Depend on. So fast. I'm getting closer too. I can be full of energy and return to Blue Star in half an hour at most. If nothing else, Blue Star must be in turbulent times now. Those foreign professionals such as Xiaori, Xiabangzi, and others who escaped back must have spread the news about our invasion of their floating island. The death of more than 10 million foreign professionals is not a small matter. It must have shocked the whole world. I don't know how people around the world talk about our boss Lin Yu. Most of them will regard him as a big devil and a murderer. It doesn't matter how you discuss it. History is always in the hands of the victor only. The strength of the kingdom of heaven is enough to shut up any country in Blue Star. A reminder to everyone, don't think about letting yourself go when you return to Blue Star. It is important to always remember that we are professionals in the kingdom of heaven. Isn't this nonsense? I don't want to be chased across borders by an army of angels. With the current war strength of the angel army, it will be easy to destroy the entire Blue Star civilization. This is no exaggeration. In the kingdom of heaven, there are currently more than 100 cities of angels. There are many medium-sized angel cities that can carry an army of millions of angels. Coupled with the extremely large number of high-level angels, and even an army of fallen angels exceeding 10 million in size. It is enough to easily sweep across the entire blue star. Soon, professionals one after another activated their brands. Return to Blue Star. With their return, Xia Kingdom was also shaken. Because everyone wants to know what is happening on number 014965 floating island now. His Majesty Lin Yu fully conquered the floating island number 014965 and officially became the master of the island. The Kingdom of Heaven has tens of millions of angels under its command, hundreds of millions of military units, and tens of millions of Xia Kingdom professionals, all of whom have become subjects of the Kingdom of Heaven and are loyal to King Lin Yu. The army of millions of fallen angels swept across the dragon and sea tribes, forcing the peak demigod Queen Medusa to surrender. The goddess of nature and elves once came to the floating island to meet His Majesty Lin Yu. His Majesty Lin Yu is called the Lord of Holy Light, commanding the holy and bright camp, and his status surpasses the supreme god. It is reported that boss Lin Yu has more than one artifact in his hands. His Majesty Lin Yu has stepped into the realm of demigods, and becoming an immortal god is just around the corner. Number 018439 floating island is about to be conquered by the Kingdom of Paradise. The gate of time and space has been opened, and the Kingdom of Heaven may set out to conquer the battlefield of all realms at any time. As more and more Xia Kingdom professionals return, Blue Star's professional forum also became excited. Many Xia Kingdom professionals revealed information about the Paradise Kingdom and the floating island numbered 014965 on the professional forum. These are no secrets. There is no need to be conservative. And when people from all over the world squatted in the professional forum and saw these posts, they finally figured out what happened on floating island number 014965. At the same time, they also have a better understanding of the information about the Kingdom of Heaven. However, the more people learn about it, the more panicked the world's top leaders become. Tens of millions of angel armies, more than 100 angel cities that are more powerful than interstellar battleships, and hundreds of millions of elite armies of various races. What kind of terrifying war power is this? They even doubt it. Once the Kingdom of Heaven chooses to invade Blue Star, even if the whole world joins forces, it will be difficult to resist the attack of the army of the Kingdom of Heaven. Although the power of technological weapons has not failed in Blue Star and can still be used, even a big mushroom can hardly kill a demigod-level expert. As for this city of angels in the Kingdom of Heaven, it is basically even more unpromising. A war weapon like City of Angels is invincible when it comes to Blue Star. No force can destroy it. For a time, all countries in the world were shrouded in a layer of gloom, especially countries such as Xiaori and Xiabangzi. After returning to Blue Star, they often spoke ill of Lin Yu in the professional forum and internationally, and expressed their determination to boycott Paradise Kingdom. But now, the true war strength of the Kingdom of Heaven is known. They immediately regretted it. I really want to take back what I said. If time could be turned back, not only would they not boycott Heaven Kingdom, they would also unanimously remain silent. As for the war taking place on their floating island, they would rather treat it as invisible. The reason is simple. Remaining silent can save their lives. If they blindly become the enemy of Paradise Kingdom, not only their army of professionals on the floating island may be destroyed, but also their country on Blue Star. Extraordinary power dominates the floating island. It will also soon dominate the entire Blue Star. No one knows whether Lin Yu, who has such a powerful war power, will be crazy enough to attack their country or even the entire Blue Star. And once Lin Yu takes action, even if the Blue Star civilization is not destroyed, their country will have to finish. Therefore, remaining silent during this special period is the most correct thing to do. But clearly they were on the wrong track, trying to use the power of other countries and international public opinion to boycott the Paradise Kingdom. This is completely seeking death. Unfortunately, there is no use regretting now. They can only pray that Lin Yu is not crazy enough to bring the war to Blue Star. Otherwise, they will be the first to die. In fact, in just 1 or 2 days, countries including Sakura Country, Bangzi Country, etc. have been hit hard from various fields. It was not Xiagua who took action. But there are more than 2 billion Western Christians scattered around the world. The crazy Westerners are attacking these countries in various ways. No one who participated in that war was spared. Because Westerners believe that if foreign professionals such as Xiaori and Xiabangzi dare to go to war with the kingdom of heaven, they are going against their God. The countries behind them must also be punished. This will appease the wrath of God, then prevent God from burning his anger to Blue Star and bringing disaster to this world. It can be said that under the attack of the Westerners, countries such as Sakura country and Bangzi country have had a very difficult time in the past 2 days. Their top management was already in a state of distress. The information brought back by Xia Kingdom professionals from the floating island also made them fall into the ice cellar. I have to be woken up by nightmares even when I sleep. In comparison, Xia Kingdom was in a state of joy. The stronger the kingdom of heaven becomes, the higher the status and influence of Xia Kingdom will be in Blue Star. Last night, high-level officials from many countries flew in overnight, offering various olive branches and expressing their intention to establish cooperative relations with Xiagua in various fields. Overnight, the Xia Kingdom became popular all over the world. Beautiful countries have to step aside. However, the beautiful country has no time to care about this, because the problem in the beautiful country is more serious. Originally, the purpose of the beautiful country was to put interests first. In addition, many of their senior officials were Westerners. This would be a problem unless there was chaos. Just when the entire Xia Kingdom was shaken by the return of a large number of professionals. In Guangwu City, in the classroom of Class 7 of Mohu Academy and University, several figures appeared one after another. First, golden light fell in the classroom. Immediately afterwards, their figures appeared out of thin air. This situation was exactly the same as when they were summoned to the floating island of all realms. The difference is, initially, 7 people were summoned together. Now, there are only 3 students who have returned. Lu Cheng, Zhuang Tianrue, Wang Hong. The 3 students greeted each other. The pretty faces all showed joy. Although they were on the same floating island, they were not teleported together, because the first transfer location is random. Now that they meet and return to the bright classroom together, the 3 of them feel as if they are in another world, just because they have experienced too many things during this time. Even the crisis of death has been experienced. How could they not be sad to be able to return to Blue Star alive? Besides us, there are 4 more who haven't come back. That boy Wei Sheng went to the floating island in another world. I heard that he led his army of wild boars across the battlefield in another world and killed countless Xiaori and Xiabangzi. I really envy that guy. It's a pity that my level is too low, otherwise I would have gone too. At this time, a tall young man sighed and said, Rin Yonghui died on the floating island. As for Feng Rong, I have not been able to contact him until now. It is most likely that he died right after he landed on the island. Hear this. The other 2 people also sighed. They were all students in the same class before. Although the relationship cannot be said to be very good, it is at least not bad. Now that they have successfully returned to Blue Star, 2 of their classmates will never come back, which makes them feel a little sad. Boss Lin Yu hasn't come back yet. Mention the name. The 3 people present were all refreshed. The expression in his eyes and face showed a look of reverence involuntarily. Their admiration and awe for Lin Yu is completely from the heart. Put aside the relationship between classmates. Lin Yu is a godlike existence in their hearts. The slightly thin Lu Cheng said with a smile, Your Majesty has just become the lord of an island. There must be a lot going on. It is normal for him not to return for a while. Damn, you kid. Your Majesty, this title is so easy to pronounce. That is required. Lu Cheng smiled, and then said with a solemn expression, We are no longer ordinary people, but professionals in the extraordinary world. We must abide by the rules of the extraordinary world and get used to them, so as not to bring disaster to ourselves. You must also remember. Hearing this, Zhuang Tianrue and Wang Hong also nodded solemnly. For the sake of his classmates, Lin Yu will definitely not make things difficult for them. They know what Lin Yu is like. But those angels were different. The most taboo thing for angels is for others to call their Lord of Holy Light by his true name. There is no problem if you add a suffix to your real name, such as Your Majesty Lin Yu. But if you call him by his first name, that would be disrespectful. In the presence of angels, this is an act seeking death. This is the truth summarized by countless professionals through bloody lessons. They didn't dare to verify whether the divine swords in the hands of those angels were sharp enough to cut off their heads. How long do you two plan to stay on Blue Star? 3 days at most. The tall Zhuang Tianrui said. The changes in the floating island are too fast. The longer you rest, the easier it is to get out of touch or even be eliminated. I don't want to be at the bottom all the time, let alone die. You have a point. Follow His Majesty's footsteps. Work hard, and we will become gods. All 3 of them were smiling and full of expectations for the future. Just at this time, several figures quickly walked into the classroom. Zhuang Tianrui and the other 3 tensed up their nerves like a conditioned reflex. At the same time, he took out his weapons. Not bad. The vigilance is high. This at least shows that you are not wasting your time on the floating island. The leading middle-aged man said with a smile. He is none other than Captain Chun, who had learned information from Sui before. At this moment, the beautiful and sexy supervisor Su was also following, and a pair of starry eyes fell on Zhuang Tianrui and the other 3. Zhuang Tianrui and the other 2 secretly rolled their eyes. In a dangerous place like the floating island, if they weren't more vigilant, they would have died long ago. It has become their professional instinct to always be alert to the surrounding environment. Su Yi asked, Zhuang Tianrui, why are there only 3 of you? Where are the others? Teacher Su. Zhuang Tianrui shook his head and replied, Fang Rong and Rin Yonghui are dead, and Wei Sheng is fighting on the floating island in another world. Hearing this, Su Yi also sighed. Although it was normal for people to die on the floating island, after all, those 2 were her students. She was not in a good mood when she heard about the death. Captain Chin didn't care about this. He asked directly, Where is your classmate Lin Yu now? Is he the ruler of the kingdom of heaven? Zhuang Tianrui glanced at Captain Chen. This is an extraordinary level of power. For the 3 of them, extraordinary professionals are terrifying existences that they cannot contend with. I have no idea. After entering the floating island, we lost contact. Don't ask us, we don't know either. Lu Cheng and Wang Hong on the side also shook their heads. Saw this scene. Instead of expressing dissatisfaction, Captain Chun had a bright smile on his face. Since you don't know, then forget it. Someone will come over later to register your professional information. I hope you will cooperate. Don't worry, this is just a simple registration. It will not affect the heavenly country that you serve as professionals. Captain Chun works vigorously and resolutely. After he finished speaking, he said hello to Su Yi beside him and led the team out of the classroom. Coming outside, a team member asked, Captain, are we going to continue to stay here until the student named Lin Yu returns and his identity is completely confirmed? No, Captain Chun waved his hand and said, Go back and report directly. We found Lin Yu. Lin Yu in his mouth. Naturally, it refers to Lin Yu, the ruler of the heavenly kingdom. The team members were stunned for a moment and asked in confusion, Captain, didn't they say they lost contact after arriving on the island and didn't know Lin Yu's identity? Captain Chen smiled and said, Those 3 boys didn't tell the truth. The Lin Yu we are looking for is their classmate. Hearing this, several team members looked shocked. The next moment, their faces also showed excited expressions. Among the tens of millions of professionals who were summoned to Floating Island of all realms, there was more than one named Lin Yu. None of them expected that their luck would be so good. The rightful lord was before their eyes. Reporting it to the police is a great achievement. At this time, a team member suddenly frowned and said, Captain, why do they hide Lin Yu's true identity? Are they afraid of something? Afraid of exposing Lin Yu's information? Finally, Lin Yu took revenge? If that's the case, I'm afraid this Lin Yu will be difficult to contact. The power Lin Yu controls is too powerful. All countries, including Xia State, also felt tremendous oppression from Lin Yu. They hope that Lin Yu will be a positive ruler. This is the best for Xia Kingdom and the entire Blue Star. In other words, if Lin Yu is a tyrannical ruler, then Blue Star's future will be worrying. Don't worry, Captain Chen said. Although I have never met Lin Yu, I believe he is an ambitious young man. What I saw in the eyes of those three people was their respect for Lin Yu, not fear. They took the initiative to help Lin Yu hide his identity. These guys. One of the team members shook his head dumbfounded. They even fooled us. Don't they know that we are? Forget it. Stop talking. Another team member said, it seems that Lin Yu has an extremely high status in their hearts. This is normal. Captain Chen sighed, and then said, I have been practicing on the floating island for a whole year and have experienced countless dangerous and desperate situations. Now I am only at the extraordinary level. On the other hand, Lin Yu has only been on the island for more than 20 days, and he has already been promoted to the level of demigod. Even becoming an immortal god is not far away. To be honest, even I have to look at him with respect. Captain Chen's words were unanimously recognized by the players present. The extraordinary world is originally a world where the strong are respected. Facing a strong man at the demigod level, even their captain who has reached the extraordinary level is considered too weak to be vulnerable. Don't talk about extraordinary level. Even the saint-level experts who are at the top of Blue Star have to lower their heads in front of the demigods. Looking at the entire Blue Star, there are very few established professionals who have reached the saint level. Until now, the number of saint-level professionals in Xia Kingdom does not exceed 5. But according to the information revealed by those professionals, there are tens of thousands of holy-level powerhouses in Paradise Kingdom. There are hundreds of demigods that all professionals look up to. Maybe even more. What is this concept? This shows how terrifying the power of Paradise Kingdom is. As the ruler of Paradise Kingdom, Lin Yu naturally stands on top of the world, enough to be respected by everyone in Blue Star, whether they are veteran professionals or newcomers. It can be said that Lin Yu has become a legendary figure in the Blue Star world. His figure also makes countless people look up to him. Let's go. Go back and report to your superiors first. Yes, Captain. After leaving one team member to continue squatting, the other team members quickly left the Magic Martial Arts Academy. Inside the classroom, Su-yi glanced at the three of them and said, Stop lying in front of me. You can't deceive me, and you can't deceive Captain Chen either. Zhuang Tianrui and the other three. Sure enough, they are still a little younger. Whether it is Director Sub or Captain Chen, they have experienced strong winds and waves on the floating island. Don't tell me at a glance whether what they just said is true or false. At least by observing words and colors, you can get a rough idea. Lu Cheng said with a smile. Teacher Su, don't blame us. How can we dare to disclose His Majesty's information? Moreover, what we said is not a lie. We did lose contact with His Majesty Lin Yu after we went to the island. His Majesty? Amelia Su was also a little surprised by this title. Lu Cheng said frankly, We should be in awe of His Majesty Lin Yu. Hearing this, Su Yi's expression became solemn. She did not expect the attitude of Lu Cheng and the others towards Lin Yu. This also indirectly shows how high Lin Yu's status is in the hearts of tens of millions of Xia Kingdom professionals. She was very surprised by this. Of course, this is normal, because Su-yi has not personally experienced the series of events that happened on 014965 Floating Island. Of course, she didn't know that for tens of millions of Xia Kingdom professionals, Lin Yu, like his angels, is sacred and cannot be profaned. Did not think of, my student actually became the owner of the floating island. There are hundreds of millions of troops under his command. I have already reached the level of a demigod, and becoming a god is just around the corner. In the office, Su-yi couldn't calm down. When the 7 Lin Yes were summoned to Myriad World's floating island, her biggest expectation for Lin Yu and others was that a Lord Professional would appear among them, because the number of Lord Professionals is too small. At the same time, Lord Professionals also have more advantages than combat professionals and have more hope of climbing to the top. As a combat professional, she also had the idea of joining a Lord Professional. Make yourself stronger with the help of Lord Professionals. Now, her expectations have been repaid. But the high expectations she received made her temporarily unbearable. She just wanted a Lord Professional to provide her with shelter and help, but in the end, the owner of a floating island came out. It made her feel like she was in a dream. The most important is, if Lin Yu rejects her, she will lose face. If Lin Yu was just an ordinary Lord professional, she would not have any worries in this regard. But here's the thing. Lin Yu's standing position is too high. It was tall enough for her to look up, but she didn't dare to get close easily. Let's wait until Lin Yu comes back. In other words, I will go directly to 014965 Floating Island to find him. Although Su-yi is not a professional of 014965 Floating Island, she can still enter 014965 Floating Island as an employee with the help of the professional marks of Zhuang Tianrui and the others. At first, Lin Yu had the idea of going to the island as an employee. The target candidate for his employment is the beautiful and sexy class teacher Su-yi. If it weren't for the sudden arrival of Myriad World's Floating Island and the surprise selection of him, he might have already applied for an employee to Director Subin. Compared to the turbulent Blue Star, the floating island where Lin Yu was located gradually became calmer. Because the large-scale war is over, the professionals are either hunting ordinary wild monsters, or they have gathered their energy and returned to Blue Star for vacation. The Holy City is quite lively. The reason is simple. The kingdom's armies under Lin Yu are returning one after another, especially the army of fallen angels in the underground world, as well as the millions of dark elves led by the dark elf Queen Nadia, all return to the sacred city. At a glance, there are sexy figures everywhere in the city. The tall figure and the long, straight, white legs make people feel dazzled. It's a pity that no one appreciates this beautiful scenery. The same goes for Lin Yu. He was currently in the city lord's mansion, tirelessly exchanging the secrets of the laws with Secretarian. As the two divine light balls were continuously absorbed and fused by him, the number of law sources he mastered also increased rapidly. In addition to the origin of the law, the divinity contained in it is also integrated into Lin Yu's body. Divinity is the essence of gods. It contains the living being's understanding of the laws of the Great Road at the level of true gods. The laws of demigods and the laws of true gods are different, and they are not on the same level in terms of power. In addition, divinity will continuously produce an immortal substance. Immortal matter is the secret of the immortality of the gods. With it, gods can achieve true immortality. Obtaining two divinities at once was of great benefit to Lin Yu. The most intuitive point, that is, after he becomes a god, his divine power will become even more powerful. Grown-ups. Inside the spiritual field space outside the city, a figure appeared in front of Victoria. It was Gladys, who was also a fallen angel. It is worth mentioning that Gladys is no longer a 10-winged fallen angel. Now, she has returned to the status of a 12-winged fallen angel. If it weren't for the fact that the power of rules in this world was too weak, she would be able to directly become a god while recovering her status, and she would not be a lower-level god with weak divine power. Gladys said respectfully, "My lord is studying the secrets of the law with His Majesty Angelia." Hearing this, Victoria's expression was startled. The next second, an inexplicable fire ignited in her heart. The secret of studying the law is obviously. Victoria said she was very angry. The object of her anger was of course not the Supreme Creator, but Angelia. This Angelia has no martial ethics. She fought hard in the underground world, while Angelia served the Creator behind the scenes. In the current situation, even if she fights for hundreds or thousands of years and conquers a vast galaxy world, she still cannot keep up with Angelia's status in the heart of the Supreme Creator. For Victoria, this is terrible news. After this period of hard work, she once again trained 3 super hell warriors in the underground world, all of whom have combat capabilities comparable to those of true gods. Originally, she was planning to report the good news to the Creator, so that the Creator can be happy. As a result, Gladys told her that the Creator was busy. "Gladys, what do you think will happen if I shrink the body of a fallen angel right now?" "Your Majesty, please do not be impulsive," Gladys quickly persuaded. "This world cannot bear the power of your personality. Once the seal is lifted, the world will surely collapse." "Hateful!" Victoria cursed angrily. Gladys on the side lowered her head, pretending not to hear. In the fight between the 18-winged archangels, she, a a little 12-winged angel, was not qualified to participate. Holy Angel Camp and Fallen Angel Camp. They have been fighting in the Lord God's realm for tens of millions of years and are incompatible with each other. In order to exile them fallen angels, several 18-winged archangels from the Holy Angel Camp even broke into the underworld, cut it in two, and used half of the underworld to create a hell for them to exile. But as a third-level angel, Gladys knows it very well. The battle between the Fallen Angel Camp and the Holy Angel Camp is far from a life-and-death battle. If not, it's not just a simple exile. As for the 7 18-winged archangels, they have never been in contact with each other in life or death. After all, no matter what, they were all conceived from the original reincarnation pool. No matter how different their ideas were, they could not erase the close relationship between them. Therefore, Gladys knew that the right thing for her to do now was to remain silent. A few curse words will not lose a few pieces of meat if she gets involved. When Victoria's anger subsides, he might even turn around and beat her up. It's normal for a younger sister to be angry with her older sister. If the 12-winged angel dares to disrespect the 18-winged archangel, the consequences will be much more serious. Just at this time, Victoria's figure suddenly disappeared. Gladys reflexively prepared to follow him. But the next moment, she paused on the spot, because she was keenly aware that the rules of heaven and earth were trembling, and vaguely heard Victoria's roar and screams. "Let you be so weak, let you be so weak." Gladys' delicate body trembled slightly. She quickly took a deep breath and said to herself, "Although I'm angry, my attack should be serious. Once she vents her anger, everything will be fine." Immediately, Gladys didn't think anymore. She was sitting cross-legged and suspended in the sky. The 12 fallen angel wings behind him were fully extended, exuding a rich bloodlight. She is absorbing as much evolutionary matter as possible in the spirit field space. Although she has returned to her former status, she, like all 12-winged fallen angels, wants to break through the status of a third-level angel and be promoted to a 14-winged angel or even a 16-winged archangel. And I don't know why. Ever since he came to this world and served the Supreme Creator, she vaguely felt that there seemed to be a crack in the barrier of her personality. She is expected to reach the next level. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yu spent a whole day and night in seclusion with Secretarian. This time in retreat, he gained even more. The 2 divine light balls from the rock demon and the god of death, Bakvis, have been completely absorbed by him. The divinity and the origin of the laws contained in it are all integrated into his body. The number of law sources he mastered has skyrocketed to more than 500. In other words, the 2 divine light balls contributed to him more than 100 laws of origin with different attributes. The reason why there are so many is because both the rock demon and the god of death, Bakvis, are serious gods. As gods, it is normal for them to master the secrets of 1 or 200 laws in total. In addition, they are all true gods from the underworld. Most of the laws and secrets that he masters belong to the underworld and evil attributes. Most of the original secrets of the laws and rules of the floating island world are not repeated. Therefore, Lin Yu was able to harvest so many sources of laws at once. The bedroom in the annex of the city lord's mansion. Lin Yu sat cross-legged on the bed. I saw that with a squeeze of his right hand, the time and space in his palm instantly collapsed. A dark cave appeared. This is a man-made black hole. Although its power is far inferior to that of naturally formed black holes in the universe, it still has extremely terrifying devouring power. Once it breaks out, it can be said to be easy to swallow up an area with a radius of thousands of kilometers. However, the power of the black hole does not affect the outside world, because it was restricted in Lin Yu's palm. Sensing the terrifying energy carried in the black hole, Lin Yu couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Based on the more than 500 origins of laws I have mastered now, once I become a god in the future, I will at least be a peak mid-level god. It's not certain that we will reach the level of a true god." In other words, Lin Yu's small goal has basically been achieved. Angelia on the side immediately complimented and said, "With my lord's appearance, I will definitely become the supreme god in a short time." There was one thing she didn't say. That is, if Lin Yu enters the Lord's divine realm, and merges the divine personality and divinity he left in the divine realm. Then he will not be as simple as becoming the supreme god, but it can directly surpass the supreme god. Hope so, Lin Yu said with a smile. The supreme god, that is the rank of the goddess of nature and elves. It is also the height at which the 18-winged archangel of the angel clan stands. It's still too far away for him now. Even if he can become a high-level true god with powerful divine power, he still has to look up to the supreme god. Let's not talk about this yet. Follow me to a floating island in another world. The war there should be over. Lin Yu turned to look at Angelia. At this time, Secretarian was radiant and full of energy. The whole person is breathtakingly beautiful. If it weren't for the fact that he had practiced for a day and a night, and his energy and spirit were in a very satisfied state, Lin Yu would have been unable to bear it anymore. Angelia stood up as instructed. Then he helped Lin Yu get dressed and wash up. For her, she can accept whatever the Lord of Holy Light does. After all, as of now, her physique is much better than that of the Lord of Holy Light.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.